Matthew Skoltz, based off of Friday's performance on pole at a 142.221.
Of course, then we got Jacobson and Tyler Scott rounding out the front row. Kayla, we saw there. Blake Davis, Jake Lewis. I think Jake could do well here. Teague Hobbs, Cam Peterson, Corey Alexander's had a better weekend, which is nice. Hayes, Demario, as you said, is a scratch. And we got Ojagawa from Japan is coming. Greg Torrin Collins, Aiden Sneed, Dave Anthony are going to fill out row 5 with Max Van, Enriquez, and Owen Williams. Man, Max Van had a save yesterday, didn't he? It was all over social media. Jarrett Nassani, Omen, Mags, and Luca Allen are going to run out or fill out our grid here.
And we're away racing, and it looked like PJ Jacobson was asleep at the wheel in the middle of turn number 1.
And it's not where you want to get swallowed up, as you see. You can see Jake Lewis with a great start. Jake Lewis on the 85 Altus bike. He gets himself slotted, it looked like, into 3rd. We'll see where he comes out of that, Greg. It looked like PJ was able to get back by Jake Lewis. Kayla there running 5th, but it's Matthew Skoltz in front of Ty Scott at the moment.
That was a really tricky one for Jake Lewis on the Altus Motorsports Yamaha. He had to really get the bike turned so tight in order to make that corner, and that's what caused him to not get on the gas as quickly as his compatriots. As Kayla Yakov now going up the inside of Jake Lewis, and Jake Lewis gets right back after it.
Yeah, Kayla took a shot, and that's the thing. A lot of confidence right now in that young lady, and Greg, she wants to go with these front 3. As you see, Blake Davis now is going to take a shot on trying to ride around the outside of Kayla, and I don't think he's going to make that one stick. Kayla's going to fall back into position here and go back after Jake Lewis just up the road in front of her. You can see Teague Hobbs and Josh Hayes on the BPR Performance R9s just back there, the fluorescent colored bikes. Josh made a pretty good step this morning, Greg, after overnight. He was at I think about a minute 45.5 yesterday. He got down to 44 flat this morning. So for the 4-time Superbike champ back in our Supersport class, he made some big steps.
All right, so Matthew Skoltz on the number 1 plate leads on his Strack Racing Yamaha R9. Right behind him. Oh, that was a big at the top of the hill. Able to hold on to it, though. That is 0.057 seconds slower than the outright fastest time in a Supersport machine ever around Ridge Motorsports Park.
Blake Davis just made a big pass on Jake Lewis down through that turn 9 sector out of turn 8. Yeah, he's done a really nice job. I mean, he can see that Matthew is dropping the pace here a little bit. So Ty Scott's going to be there. What Ty Scott wants to be able to do is make it to where when Matt comes by the wall, Matthew's going to see on his lap timer from the lap before, but Blake has just kind of had to maybe, I don't know if he got a bad start, but he kind of got shuffled back. As you see him trying really hard right now to go around the outside of Kayla. Again, this is a tough pass, especially coming up over this part of the track. Let's see if he tries to get down the inside. Not quite close enough, taking that long way around. Kayla will have felt that. That's why she closed the door going there into turn 11. Jamie.
Well, talking to Blake Davis, he was a little disappointed after qualifying, but he did say, I typically race better than I qualify. That's one of the things he really wants to work on over the course of this season. But in terms of confidence, he said he was coming into the race today without that same confidence that he's had in the opening rounds of this championship. And he doesn't really understand why. He doesn't know if it's the racetrack, if he feels uncomfortable, or is he, you see, making the move there and getting around Kayla.
Is he a little bit too far back right now, Greg? Nobby's going to have a shot at it.
Oh, yeah. My goodness.
Long way back.
Whoa.
Yeah, he didn't get it stopped. So Kayla's going to be able to go back by him. And that was a long way back from Cam, but he wants to take a shot because he wants to go run away with Blake because he's still trying to get down the inside. Wasn't close enough there either. Fallen off as far as the pace goes, or a feel that she might have, and that's why now, as you see, this was the first shot that Cam took, and Kayla was able to turn her bike back up underneath.
HSBK Racing Ducati goes up the inside, and he'll take over that position. A nice move and very aggressive from the South African.
And when they went down into turn 1, look how far back he's coming from, and you're going to see he's another one. He's going to run right over this inside paint, and you'll watch his bike go right over it. Doesn't really look like it upset the motorcycle very much at all, and he was able to flick it back to the right.
That is Blake Davis, and then Cam Peterson on the Celtic Economy Lube Plus Tire Warhorse, HSBK Racing Ducati, as these two start to get after it. But the problem with this is their battle is 7 seconds adrift of 3rd place.
Yeah, and when you think about it right now, this is what that start is so important, and qualifying here at the Ridge is so key. You get in there with the first 3 guys, it looks like Cam Peterson is going to take a shot at Blake Davis. He does. Runs right over that paint again. Looks solid. Cam looks really good on this bike right now. This is going to be good for his confidence. We'll be able to see now if he can continue to sustain the pace that he is at. That last time through 3.8 for Blake Davis.
As we look at this replay, one thing I want to bring to your attention, last year when Cameron Peterson was on the factory Yamaha, one of the strongest places he was on the racetrack is under braking into turn number 1. And if you remember, he was trying to keep Matthew Skultz at bay, and he was able to get back 0.2 of a second. So Skultz, Scott, and PJ Jacobson, as PJ now has slipped back. As we continue to look at Hayes and Hobbs, that battle for the lead is 18 seconds up the road.
And you can see Matthew's body position and everything change the last half of that lap. What Matt is digging for right now. Oh, what about Ty
he's
Scott
down.
is down.
Oh, Ty Scott hits the deck on the turn 1 chicane. And after all of that work, he's able to refire the motorcycle. We'll see where he ends up. So it looks like, was that Jake Lewis maybe?
It's gonna be Blake Davis actually.
Let's see what happens with the number 70.
Yeah, it's the exact same accident that Matthew Skultz had this morning, almost a T. So you can see he's gonna get on this. He's gonna hit a bump, see the chatter, and he loses the front and falls off the inside of the bike. And sadly for Ty Scott, I think he picked the bike back up though, Greg. I expect to see him try to slide through underneath Blake Davis down here into turn 1. He got a tremendous drive, and he's going to try to go down the inside, which he's going to do. Now he's got to just control this little bit of apex speed right here, so that Blake can't turn it back underneath him. And Cam did a really tremendous job.
This is the battle for third, the final spot on the podium on our final lap. Motovation Supersport, race number 1 here at Ridge Motorsports Park in Shelton, Washington.
Cam gets it down into that little area tight. This is where Blake's been good. He almost gets into the back. He was really good there. I remember when he went by Jake Lewis early in the race. Cam's just got to keep it nice and tidy.
Here comes the number 1 plate. Wheel in the air, coming across the line. And Strack Racing Yamahas. Matthew Skultz with the win. PJ Jacobson comes across the line. This is the battle for third. So Cameron Peterson, after a good pass in turn 1, is able to hold off Blake Davis all the way to the checkered flag and take third position. Well, for a guy who couldn't ride on yesterday, what a reward it is for his Celtic Economy Lube Plus Tire Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team.
It is physical, it is tough.
Yeah, very tough track as Matthew Skultz back in Park Ferme now, celebrating that third race victory of the season with PJ Jacobson and Cam Peterson down there as well.
Because the good news for Ty Scott is he's able to pick it up and finish 6th. So it's Skultz from PJ, Cameron Peterson, Blake Davis right there with Yakov, then Ty Scott,